Hello, TCW Universe. It is I, once again, your agent, your favorite agent, and your newest intern, your newest authority figure, but an authority figure that's, unlike so many others, is not out for himself. No. I am a mere servant of the people, of you, the people, you, the TCW Universe. And now, I come before you today with the most amazing, the most shocking, the most important announcement of the year. Now, most of you might say, is the fact that you're doing this huge announcement, this huge reveal, mere days before Rage's Legends of Rage pay-per-view. Are you trying to steal a little bit of Matt Blake's thunder? No, I assure you that is not the case. It's just some kind of weird, crazy coincidence that it just lined up that I would be making this huge announcement before one of the most important pay-per-views of the year. Just a crazy coincidence. It's just how it happens sometimes. Now let's get to the announcement. Now, last week on Unleashed, a lot of you saw that Jay Ayers, she threw out a little challenge to the Wolf. They've been going at it for months now. All year they've been kind of back and forth. And Jay has always, as she does, found a sneaky way out of it every time. But now she has a challenge with the Wolf. Now she wants to fight him one-on-one. It's going to be War of Ages prize, the prize, versus Jay Ayers' Street Fight title. And Jay has said that she'll do this next week, next show, at Hell's Holiday, anywhere she wants to. Well, see, the thing that makes fair is I know your last name is Edberg, but you are not a match creator around here, Jay. You don't get to set when matches happen, but I do like your little idea for a match between you and the Wolf. A match that will put your Street Fight title versus the prize, the War of Ages prize. So I've got this amazing card, this amazing night of action that will happen in about a month's time. The show before Hell's Holiday will be something that I like to call the Carnival of Champions. It's a tribute to, sadly, because of the COVID virus, a lot of fall festivals, a lot of carnivals, a lot of state fairs are going to be canceled this year, and the people at the Marietta Cobb County Fairgrounds has so judiciously allowed us to set up all the fair like it would be at a normal fair on a normal year, and we're going to have a show from them as a tribute to all these canceled fall festivals, all these canceled state fairs, all these canceled carnivals that would happen normally in the fall time. And I can think of no better match than the main event, Jay Ayers versus the Wolf. Street Fight title versus the prize in the first ever Hall of Mirrors match. That's right, folks, a Hall of Mirrors match. What could happen? But now I think I'm getting ahead of myself, because that's 3 shows from now, and that match is all hinging on the fact that Jay Ayers will still be the Street Fight champion come Carnival of Champions, because she might just not be still champion at Carnival of Champions. You see, good old Daniel Dare, our world champion that I am proud to call my world champion, unlike the pirate, whoever is over there in Rage. No, we have maybe the second greatest wrestler in the history of history. Daniel Dare's our world champion, and I was, once again, as I have been many times in my past, I was inspired by Daniel Dare when he had a confrontation with one Mr. Jacob Root. He said, "Kid, I'll face you anytime, anywhere." and Mr. Dare, I think that is a fantastic idea. But we don't just hand out war title shots like what Democrats hand out food stamp cards. No, we in TCW, you have to earn your war title shots. In TCW, this is where championships matters more now than any other time of the year, and I'll get to that later on. But Jacob Root has not earned a TCW war title shot. But he could. He could. And you know what? There's several other people that have done good, but maybe they just come a little short of earning a title shot and title contention. They're right there, and Jacob Root is one of those people. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a whole event out of it, a 2-show special, in a little event that I'm calling it Win It and You're In It. So what we're going to do is we're going to put every champion in a match against a challenger. If the champion wins, then he gets to go on the next show, and he'll be in what I'm calling the Champions Lounge. They get to have the next show off. They get to have the next show off and prepare for Carnival of Champions, where every championship, by the way, except for the war title, will be on the line. So the champions will get to relax then. But if they lose, then the next show, they will have to defend that title against the person they lost to. So who's going to be in these championship matches? In the first match, well, not the first match, but the first match that I'm going to talk about is Daniel Dale will be giving a shot at Jacob Root. If Jacob Root's able to beat Daniel Dale, then the next show he'll get a shot at that war title. Now, onto the Trinity titles. Driver, Shawnee O, Jenny, Crazy Jenny, you have been wonderful champions. But you know, this team of Driver and Shawnee O and Crazy Jenny, it's a weird team. It's a crazy team. It's a team that you might not think on paper might work together. And a lot of times, the Trinity champions have been like that. I mean, look at the record holders for that belt. Bruise, Booze, and Choose. Daniel Dare, Shannon Hicks, and Judd Gendrich. Who would have ever thought that team would have lasted as long as they did? Look at Analyze This. Steve Hoger, RVN, and Skid. I mean, those two guys hated each other, but they held on those belts for several months. So there's this idea that behind this Trinity title that maybe sometimes the teams that don't get along or the teams are a little weird, maybe that's the teams that you need to get it. And I definitely have come up with that idea. Your challengers will be Jason Storm, who is not the national title champion, by the way, but I'm not going to order him to give that belt back to Bulldozer. Bulldozer, if you're man enough, get your belt back from Jason Storm. That's all I'm going to say about that. But non-national champion Jason Storm will be teaming with his mentor and yours, the Golden Unicorn, Joey Foreman, and Distinct. Now, I know that Distinct and Joey Foreman are having a best of 7 series match, and may I say that first match was brutal, just how I wanted it to be. It was beautifully brutal. They beat the crap out of each other. It was great. And shockingly enough, and he is a very shocking man, Joey Foreman picks up the big win. So it's 1-0, Foreman over Saint. And I don't want to interrupt that flow. So this Trinity Tag Team contention match falls into that same guideline. It is technically match 2. So if the Saint gets the pin, he wins it and he'll tie it up 1-1. But if Foreman or his pal Jason Storm gets the pin, then Foreman goes up 2-0. And I know people will probably complain that it's not fair that Joey Foreman has technically 2 representatives in the match, him or Jason Storm. And you know what? That isn't fair. But you know what? Sometimes life just isn't fair. And I have no bias against a Saint, but Saint says he's the Michael Jordan of wrestling. Well, Saint, these are the kind of situations you prove it. And as an added bonus, because Joey Foreman did win their first match in the best of 7 series, he gets to pick what kind of match this is. He gets to pick any stipulation for this 6-man tag, that this Trinity contenders match that he wants to. So Joey Foreman, you're on the clock. You got my email. Send me what kind of match that you want. You can come up with anything you want to. So all I gotta say to everybody in that match with Joey Foreman picking the stipulation, good luck to all of you. Now then, Jericho Holloway, the Intercontinental Champion. Hi, it's your boss speaking to you. Well, technically I'm still the intern, but let's have a little chat, Jericho. You seem to think that you're in charge of everything, but you see, just like Jay Ayers, you fall under the same category as Jay Ayers is. You're still an employee, and that means that you're going to do what I say you do. Okay, you got that? And you're running like this Intercontinental title, and the idea behind the Intercontinental title is it can be defended in any kind of match as long as there's more than one guy in it. And trust me, there's a whole big old long line of guys who want a piece of you. Oh yeah, there's a big old line. I mean, it's wrapped around the Brock brother. And you know what? So I could just throw them all in there against you, make it a big battle royal, and they can throw you out first. But that's not fun. That's entertaining. No one wants to see that. I definitely don't want to see that. I am a fair man. I mean, ask anybody who works for me. I am a fair man. And since I am a fair man, I am going to give you a title defense, but it's going to be 8-man tag action. However, if anybody on your team gets pinned, you still have to defend the title against all 4 of your opponents. Okay? You got that? So, your team is going to be you in Deep Hurting. Okay? Pitchburn, Jake Patrick, and the other one. I can't think of his name. But you go and gets Deep Hurting. That's going to be your tag team. And your opponents are going to be Lucas Furr, Scott Belichick, and the Tranquilo of Pain, Julio and Javier Rodriguez. So have fun with that one. And I know a lot of people say Scott Belichick, what's wrong with that guy? Let me tell you something, Scott. You better wrestle in this match. You better not try to throw the match like you did the last show, or else there's going to be heavy consequences. And you don't want that to happen. Yeah, we won't be friends here, okay? So, we got Jericho, Deep Hurting versus Furr, Scott Belichick, and the TOP, the Tranquilo of Pain, okay? So, now then, on to the National Championship match, which, oddly enough, does not include Jason Storm because he is not the National Champion. Just so no one gets confused, because we know there's confusion out there, and God knows we don't want that to happen. So, there's been this whole thing with Wolf versus the Players Club. We've seen it for months. Well, Culling versus the Players Club, but I would hazard to say that Wolf has been the one leading the charge against the Players Club. So, why don't we give one of Aries' friends a chance to soften up Wolf before maybe the most important matchup for a career. So we're going to have Wolf taking on Bristol Bulldozer, and if Wolf beats him, he'll walk in to next week. How funny would it be is if we go to Carnival of Champions and Wolf's the national title champion, so it would be Prize National Championship versus the Street Fight title champion, and somebody walks out with 2 belts and the prize. That's the only way that match could get bigger. But he has to get past Buster Bulldozer, who's been going through like a wrecking ball. We're not doing that again. Alright, so Jay Harris, I know you have been literally on the edge of your seat this whole time. You've been wondering, who am I going to put you up against? Who are you going to defend? Who do you have to beat? Who do you have to beat to make sure that you get the night off before Carnival Champions? Well, Jay, if you really think about it, I mean, you're kind of like Jericho. You have a line at the door of people who just want to smack you around because, I mean, you're about as likable as 2020, okay? I mean, that's just being honest. So, but I went with somebody who's been hot and fresh this whole year. They came at the end of last year and they have been on fire ever since then. And this person, not only has he been a great wrestler, but he's been a freedom fighter. He fought and got the freedom of pink grapefruit and cherry, now known as Tostada and Gordita. Yes, I am talking about Chalupa Supremo. So, I mean, and we know that the ladies at La Taco Bella's were not too pleased with your impersonation of their leader. So they took it upon themselves to smack you around a little bit. And I gotta say, that was one of the highest rated clips on the website, tcw.com, was them smacking around a little bit. I probably put about 100 views on that myself. So you probably want a little payback against their boss. And you can get that payback if you can beat him. You beat him, he doesn't get a shot next show. But if Chalupa beats you, then he gets a shot at your Street Fight title on the next show. And if he wins then, well, then he goes on to Carnival Champions. And he takes on Wolf for that prize. Now, could you imagine that? If La Chupa Supremo would go on and beat Aries back-to-back shows and then marches in to the first ever Hall of Mirrors match and then just beats Wolf and walks out with the prize, that would be the greatest streak any wrestler's ever done in TCW. And I will say that these 4 shows, weeks 1 and 2 of Win It and You're In It, Carnival of Champions, and then Hell's Holiday, it has to be the most impressive 4-show combo. Should I do this? 4-show combo that has ever been done in the history of not only just TCW, but of Rage and ACW and any other Richter Fred you want to throw out there. So, balls in your court. Top that is basically what I'm saying. But you know what? I'm not even done. No, I'm not even done, because several times on the show I keep talking about how championships matter. They matter in TCW. That's why we don't just hand them out to anybody. That's why I'm making the champions go through all of this crap. Because at Hell's Holiday, we all know the Doomsday Cage match. Can you beat the curse? It's one of the legendary, it's one of the staple matches in TCW history. I mean, it's got so much lore behind it. There's been specials made about it. It's made and broken several careers. It is probably the most influential match in the history of TCW. But I'm not living in the past. I'm not like some other people. I don't live in the past. I don't look behind at what was great. I look ahead to see what I can make be great. So I'm double downing on awesomeness at Hell's Holiday. And I am coming out with a brand new stipulation match that I believe in the years to come will top Doomsday. And that match is something I'm calling the Hell's Fire Club match. What it is going to be for the world title. It's going to be the world champion versus every other champion. Now, that means it'll be the world champion versus the Intercontinental champion. It'll be the world champion versus all the Trinity champions. It'll be the world champion versus the Street Fight champion, and the world champion versus the Street Fight champion. So all these matches, if you win one of these matches and you get the Carnival of Champions as the champion, then you got your world title shot. Now, I'm not going to shut out people who don't have belts. There will be a couple matches between here and now that allow what I'm calling special guest passes into the Hellfire's Club match. But you know what? There's an old saying that says you better be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Because see, this isn't all just unicorns and rainbows and sunshine. No. See, there's always a cost. There's always a price to pay. And you see, the winner of this matchup, the person who gets the pin, now that's anybody against anybody. Daniel Dare does not, or whoever the world champion is, Daniel Dare or Jacob Root, do not have to get pinned to lose the belt. One pin, one champion. But the person who loses their title. Or if the person who gets pinned is not a champion, then that person who pinned them, they get to humiliate that person in any way and fashion they please on the show after Hell's Holiday. So let me break this down for you what this means. Let's say Driver goes in and he makes it. He's still the Trinity champion. He pins Daniel Dare. Easy enough. Driver's the world champion and everybody gets hold of the belt. But let's say that Chalupa, let's say he wins the Street Fight title, he goes through Carnival Champions, he wins the prize. He goes all the way through, he's Street Fight champion representative. And let's say he pins Jericho Holloway, who's the Intercontinental champion. That means not only does Chalupa win that world title, but Jericho is no longer the Intercontinental champion. No, he is done as champion. He's out. But let's say somebody without a belt gets pinned. Let's say Daniel Dare. Let's say, let's say Headbanger from the Deep Hurting. Let's say he gets in there. And Dare pins him. Then the next show, Daniel Dare gets to pick any kind of humiliation for Headbanger that he wants. He could tar and feather him. He could make him do whatever he wants to, because the world title shots should come with a little bit more pressure. So the Hell's Fire Club match is going to happen at Hell's Holiday. The only question is who's going to be in it. Nobody knows. In the next 3 shows, we will figure out the answer to those questions. Because not only do you have it, the Win It, You're In It 2-week special, but then you have Carnival of Champions, where, once again, every title will be on the line, except for the World Championship. That person will be the Carnival's, they will be the Carnival Grand Marshal, and they will be in charge of several things that night. That is what the world champion gets. That is his privilege, whether that be Jacob Root or Daniel Dare. Who knows? We'll find out in about a month's time. So, and then we walk into Hell's Holiday. Who's going to walk out with the world title? But in the midst of all of that, that's not even all of it. In the midst of that, you got Doomsday. You got Doomsday qualifying matches. And who is already in Doomsday as of last week was Rod, RVN, Julio, Larry Lujak, and Jerry Root, who of course was the first person entered in to Doomsday. And for anybody still complaining about that, they say, where was Jerry Root's qualifying match for Doomsday? His entire career was his qualifying match. So I really don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about Jerry Root not have earning his spot, kids. He earned that spot. He made it. He deserves to be there. So that's it, folks. The 4 greatest shows to ever be back to back to back. And all I gotta say, the rage is, top that, Matt Blake. You come out with your Miracle Mile in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. Let's see you top those 4 shows back to back, because it ain't happening. I have done it once again, and heck, we are heading head on into Resurrection season. And what's going to happen then? Well, if I was you, I would hold on and wait. So as always, it's been your pleasure and mine. It's Agent White signing out.